Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. Today we're going to be talking about trends in the fitness industry and what's really emerging in terms of new technologies and new trends. So the first trend we're going to discuss is AI, which means artificial intelligence. Now, this has been slowly moving into the business space. We haven't really seen it hit the fitness industry on a high level yet. However, I'm sure in probably 3 years, it'll become more and more mainstream. So how does AI work? Well, a typical example in a business environment is using what we call a chatbot. So you'll see that some companies are already employing this and using this in their business. So it works by having a chat feature on your website. So if a prospective member comes to your website, they'll be able to chat and ask questions. So you might be familiar with live chat, where a human will be able to answer questions that the person, the prospect or the potential client has. But obviously that requires a human to be there and to be responding to any chats that initiate from the website. So in our business, we have a live chat feature on our website, but it requires one of our team to actually respond and give answers. What AI allows you to do is to set up some automatic responses to questions. So how does AI work in this scenario? Well, you can set it up where there'll be frequently asked questions and the AI will know what question is being asked by what's being typed into the chat. It will then automatically provide an answer based on the question. So it's almost like a human responding to a question, but it's done with artificial intelligence. So if someone is asking, do you offer personal training, or how much is personal training at your facility? The AI can automatically act and provide that information for the person. So it's really allowing you to answer questions that the prospective member might have that hopefully moves them closer to joining your gym. But you're doing it robotically, not having to have a person manning the chat service to answer any questions that come in. So that's the benefit, and I think we'll see AI become more and more common. It's still in its early phases where it can be a bit clunky, but it's getting really strong. So a classic example of AI in some ways is Google, where you have things like Google Home now. You ask it a question, it'll tell you the information back. So that's all built off artificial intelligence. So we'll see where that goes, but I think that in the next few years it'll become more mainstream in the fitness industry. So it'll be interesting to see who jumps on as an early adopter of that kind of technology and approach. Our second emerging trend is virtual reality. So this may be further down the track, but there are companies that are starting to dabble in virtual reality fitness. There's a company, I think it's called Black Box in the US, that are innovating in this space, and it'll allow you to use some virtual reality headgear and actually exercise in a virtual reality setting. So it's really gamifying and making that exercise more of a game through virtual reality. So that's a real interesting space. Maybe in several years there'll be specific health clubs that are just virtual reality fitness. I'm not sure, but I think we're in the very early stages of that space, and it's probably got 5+ years before it's really mature and mainstream. But it's something to keep an eye on. Our third trend is automation. So you'll see that more and more things will become automated. We already see it through what we do in our software, automation of SMS and email and follow-up. But that can extend further. Automation of content, automation of workout programs. So you'll see as companies try and look for an advantage, they'll look at where they can cut costs down, and staffing costs are a big part of the overhead of a business, and particularly in the fitness industry. So anything that can be automated can help reduce that cost. We want to get the balance right. We don't want to remove all the human element, but some tasks are time consuming, some tasks are better off being automated. They take a lot of time, so it's about reinvesting that time elsewhere. So automation and finding ways to automate things is definitely a trend that we'll see emerge in the next 12 months and beyond. Our fourth trend is segmentation. So this, particularly over the last few years, has been a growing trend in the business space. So looking more granular at your customer segments, what are their needs and their wants, desires, and then being able to serve those customer segments more specifically. No longer is it one size fits all. We shouldn't be doing the exact same approach for every customer and every member. The more we can personalize it, but it needs to be scalable at the same time, the more we can have it more specific to their needs and what they want to achieve, the better experience they're going to have, and the more likely they're going to be retained for the long term. So that's definitely a trend to be on top of, and that's happening right now. That's something you want to be across and have a strategy for in your health club. Our fifth and final trend is specialization. So you'll see, a move away from doing many things to, fitness facilities being more specialized and, being known for being strong in one particular area. The clubs that are going to be successful are more likely to be the ones that are specializing and really focusing down on that one core thing that they do exceptionally well. One thing that's evident at the moment is that people are willing to have more than one provider for their health and fitness. Maybe they'll go to the gym and do their resistance training, but they might also go to a yoga place that's completely separate. They might go to a CrossFit place and then do their cardio at a gym. So you don't have to provide every single thing under the sun. Sometimes you're better off just being more specialized and being the best at providing an exceptional service for the one thing that you're the best at. And it doesn't matter if someone goes off and does yoga elsewhere, as long as they're getting a result and they're having a good outcome in terms of their health and wellness. That's the main thing. If they're getting results, they're more likely to stay with you. So I think that's going to be more and more of a trend in the industry where people are realizing you can't be all things to everyone, because you're going to do just everything at a mediocre level. You're better off being specialized and doing that one thing exceptionally well. So there's our 5 trends. We've talked about artificial intelligence, virtual reality, automation. We've talked about segmentation and then specialization. So they're some of the things that are really emerging or happening right now in the fitness industry. I'll end on one important note. It's really easy to always focus on the shiny objects of things that are new and emerging and innovative. However, it's also important to always keep a strong focus on the fundamentals. if you take your eye off the ball and or always looking at the new and shiny things in the industry, you can forget or move your focus away from the fundamentals of running a good health club. And they're things like customer service and experience and lead generation and things like that. So you always want to have a strong focus on the fundamentals, but just keep an eye on what's emerging and what's coming up. One story that really sums this up is about Vince Lombardi, who is a famous football coach in America. He holds records for the most number of championships or something like that. So he, at the start of pre-season each year, he would say, "Gentlemen, this is a football." And then he would go into the absolute basics of the game. Every pre-season, he would start with the fundamentals because he knew that the absolute fundamentals are the things that drive success. So keeping a strong focus on the fundamentals, is just as much key as keeping up to date with emerging trends and things like that. So that's it for today's show. Hope you found it useful, and we'll catch you next week.